Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a very interesting show set up for you today. All right, we're going to talk about Jake Retzlaff and where is he going to wind up. And we've talked a little bit about him before, but this is getting pretty interesting. We also need to talk about Tyler Bray. He discussed Nico Iamaleava and kind of what went down during his time here at Tennessee. And of course, if you know Tyler Bray, he was the big armed quarterback that actually, I think he played for Dooley after all the crap that went on with Lane Kiffin. But anyway, Jake Retzlaff supposedly has entered the transfer portal after everything that happened with him there at BYU. Now, I have not seen this in any other articles or on X or anything along those lines. And there was questions of whether or not he was going to be in the portal or what he was going to do. Everybody has been expecting it. So this may very well be accurate. Now, there are some issues with the portal because of the date of what we're dealing with. Now, he had the big problem with a young lady that accused him of assault. Police never filed charges, and the lawsuit or the civil lawsuit that she had against him, he countersued, and then they both dropped the lawsuit with prejudice, which means it can never be brought up again. So, you know, technically, he should be okay, but it's 2025, folks. So you know this is something that's going to follow him for a very long time. We don't know what happened. I don't know. You don't know. But it appears he's out of hot water. What you think of that, you know, you can have your own opinion. But we're going to talk about it. Now, Jake is a graduate transfer. So he's already got his degree there at BYU. He doesn't have to go through all the bells and whistles and the hoops and all that kind of stuff to enter the portal. However, this is after April 7th. Typically, you can't enter the portal even as a graduate transfer after that date. However, the NCAA, since the House settlement, has a new transfer portal, which is for anybody above the 105 number. You know, there's the limit of 105 players. Now, and a lot of teams have as many as 130 on their team. A lot of those are walk-ons. So if you feel like one of your players was going to be above the 105, they can enter the portal. However, that's not the case with this guy. He was their starting quarterback there at BYU. So he would not fit that narrative. However, he could get a waiver from the NCAA. This is a situation that's very unique because BYU has an honor code that other teams don't. And because of that, he's been suspended for 7 games. He would probably get a waiver. Now, that would require BYU to cooperate, which it would appear that's what they're going to do, or that's what they've said that they're going to help. Whether or not they do, we'll see. I don't know why they'd come out and say positive things about Jake and we want what's best for him and then not cooperate with a waiver. I doubt they want him to sit there on the bench for a couple of months. And he wouldn't do that anyway. So those are the 2 ways. There is a third way, supposedly, where he dropped out of BYU and then came onto a team as a walk-on. I don't know if that would work. I've heard that speculated on and seen it in an article or 2, but I don't know how accurate that is. But all the talk from every single article that I've seen has been about Tennessee being the landing spot for Jake. There's a lot of questions about that, whether that'd be a good move or not for Tennessee. Obviously, again, it's 2025. There'd be a lot of questions about Jake and then anything that might have happened with that young lady, Jane Doe. So you'd have to deal with that. There's also the issue of trying to learn an offense. It is July. It is hard to learn an offense and have any type of understanding of it to the level you'd need to have to be a starter, which I don't think he'd even be the starter even if he came to Tennessee. Even though, look, he'd be the only quarterback with Power 4 experience that's had success. BYU went 11-2 last year. The dude's a gamer. His stats are not that great. 20 touchdowns, had like a dozen interceptions. He runs the ball well, but he knows how to win. And he was good at the end of ball games with some pretty clutch moments. So he'd have an edge on everybody at Tennessee because of the whole Nico Iamaleava thing. You know, he put Tennessee in a very bad position. Typically, I don't think Josh Heupel would have any interest in bringing in a guy, especially if there's an issue politically. But they're in such a unique spot, Tennessee is, to have no experience at the Power 4 level with your quarterbacks is almost crazy. You never see that unless maybe it's some superstar, 5-star that you've paid a fortune for, and maybe he's been around a couple of years and you put him out there, which is what happened last year with Nico. But we had a 5th-year guy as his backup, Gaston Moore. So Tennessee is in a very unique situation. Joey has a lot of experience, but it was at Appalachian State. So, he's not played in the SEC or the Big Ten or even the Big 12 or ACC. I mean, we're talking about somebody that's, we don't know how it's going to go. And then Jake Merklinger, who's backup, has played no significant minutes whatsoever. He's a redshirt freshman and hadn't played really any serious ball on the college level. So you are where you're at. And then you've got George McIntyre, who is a true freshman, 195 pounds, 6'6", who you really don't want out there, I don't think. So it would make sense for them to bring this guy on board, but there's a lot of people out there that don't think that's a good idea. I've been in the comment section, the last story I did on this. Y'all had a lot of opinions on it, and you're like, well, good luck to him, but I don't think we need him. We're going to stick with Joey. Well, that's all good and well until Joey goes out there and either plays well or poorly. If he plays poorly, you're going to be going, dang, I wish we had that guy. So I think Josh is in a very unique situation. I don't know what he's going to do, but everybody thinks Tennessee is the landing spot for him. And this is a show called The Monty Show, which I am a fan of. I know many of you have probably watched these guys, and they were discussing it as well.
A fascinating follow. I think it is fascinating. I think it's got to be Tennessee. It's after the Imaliava stuff, and they clearly have the money to make him whole, which some people believe is part of that conversation. I don't necessarily know if that's the case, but if you go to Tennessee and you win and you play well, he could go to the NFL draft next spring.
I don't think there's any doubt that he could put this behind him if he goes somewhere and dominates. Like, I mean, again, I'm a big believer that it's kind of like what you said, right? Like when they show you who they are as a quarterback, you believe them. The guy's never going to have, 76% completion percentage. That's not who he is.
It's too much of a gunslinger.
But to that point, I think if you go and you play for Josh Heupel at Tennessee and you're in that system, like the defense at Tennessee is good enough to hold its own and make up for some of those deficiencies.
And that's a terrific show. If you saw that thing in the middle, that means they've got 100,000 subscribers. So that tells you. Anyway, that's what everybody thinks. I don't look. My sources, where usually I get some information from people, they are quiet as a church mouse. I am not hearing anything. The folks I've reached out to, they're not hearing a thing. This is odd. Normally, I can get a bit of a feel on things like this, especially if the momentum's in a particular direction. I got nothing. I've been all over the internet, all over everything, trying to figure out if there is anything to know, one way or the other. Because he's going to wind up somewhere at a Power 4 school, there's no doubt. He's just too good a player. But I got nothing as far as inside information. All I know is everybody thinks he's going to wind up at Tennessee. The next choice would be Notre Dame or maybe a Baylor or something like that. That might be a possibility, but he probably is going to want to try to go to either a Big Ten, SEC, definitely Power 4. There's no question. So that's what we know about it. And probably over the next week or two, we'll start finding out more and more things. But I wanted to do an update on this. And right now, all we know is he's trying hard to either get in the portal or he's already in the portal. I can't even confirm that he's in the portal, even though there's a story that says he is. I think he is, but until I see it from multiple sources, I'm not as comfortable saying, yeah, he definitely is. All right, now I want to talk to you about Tyler Bray. Many of you remember him at Tennessee. Big arm. I mean, that dude could spin it, plays in the NFL. I think he's still in the NFL. He's not that old. But anyway, he went on a show and talked about Nico Imaliava and all of that sort of stuff. And this is a show I've never seen before. I'm going to show you a clip of it and show you what he said. This one's called Bring the Juice, and this guy, Frank Delina, interviews players, former players, guys actually in the NFL. I saw one where he interviewed Justin Fields. Anyway, they get into a lot of stuff, and they kind of tell it how it is. It's a pretty interesting show.
Tyler, I want to start with you. Tennessee, a lot of shit's happened lately. You're a quarterback who played at Tennessee. You're a Tennessee football alum, specifically in that position. It's no secret that shit hit the fan with Nico. Mm-hmm. What's your take as a former guy who quarterbacked at that school when NIL's doing what it's doing? It's the Wild West. We could get into that a little bit later, but what's the taste in your mouth right now? Are we moving forward? Are you saying adios or what?
Yeah, you kind of got to move forward. So he kind of put Tennessee in a bad situation when it came to asking for more money. Mm-hmm. And I get it. The market, everything for QBs right now is off the charts. Like we were talking before about the guy from Tulane, Mensa, that transferred to Duke, $8 million quarterback.
Good for him.
Yeah, oh, great. But that's what the going rate for QBs is these days in college. And so he wanted more money, but the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So when you're
can't cheat the stat line.
You're not even in the top 50 for passing yards, rushing yards, none of that, but your running back is a top 10 guy. Your defense, top 10 defense.
Right.
Like that's why you're winning games, and then you want to go out and kind of stronghold Tennessee and be like, I want more money or I'm leaving. Like they give in to him, they got to give in to everybody else.
Did it feel like too, and also you could chime in on your like POV of this, did it not feel like that it wasn't an inside conversation? Did it not feel like it was more like Twitter beef between the football program and Nico's party rather than being like going up to the coach's office and saying like, hey, listen, this is what I'm probably worth right here? Like I feel like it got out of the lines pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that's one thing where, you know, his dad, I mean, we don't know the full picture either. His dad could have been trying to make moves behind the scenes. Like Dan Lanning's sitting there and calling coach and like, hey, your QB's dad's like reaching out to us talking about transferring. Like, who knows what's really going on behind closed doors. But if they give in to him right there and we're like, oh yeah, we'll pay you a bunch of money. Yeah. Then you have your DN coming up to you next. I want more money. Then this guy wants more money.
Yeah.
And that was Tyler's brother, Austin. And if you want to watch that show again, that's called Bring the Juice. You can watch that whole thing. I just showed you a little clipping of it. And also, most of you will know the Monty Show. But anyway, I thought those were very interesting takes. And the Nico thing, look, everybody sees it for what it is. You know, he messed up. He just screwed up, and it put Tennessee in a real bad spot. And he wound up, like I say, taking a 50% pay cut and being surrounded by a bunch of 3-stars. And now instead of having book-in 5-star tackles to protect you, they've got their makeshift offensive line. And dude's got to go to the shoe and play Ohio State, got to play Penn State, got to play Utah. I mean, they got not an easy schedule.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh, my.
Especially given the talent that's around him. You know, I've showed you the recruiting. They recruit 3-stars at UCLA. It's not a bad program. I'm not ripping UCLA. But they were 118th in offense last year. 118th. And you're going to take a 50% pay cut and go there? Look, you got over your skis. Everybody knows it. You thought, hey, I'm worth $4 million. Not in the spring portal, you're not. You might have gotten a raise if you'd have done this in the wintertime when all the teams needed, there was, 20, 30 teams that needed a quarterback. But you're not going to do that in the spring. And I really think what happens, he got butthurt. I think the story came out, Pete Nakos, and somebody leaked it, probably from the Tennessee side. That's certainly what he thinks. And when it came out, his dad said, oh, no, we're not negotiating. And of course they were. And that made him look bad. And I think he got really upset about it. Look, he's young. He's used to having his butt kissed. And somebody leaked out because they're sick and tired of dealing with this crap, of constantly wanting more money, change the offense, do this, do that, while you're throwing for the least number of touchdowns in a Josh Heupel offense ever. Now, granted, it wasn't a bad season, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, but that's below average, well below average of what a Josh Heupel offense does. You're supposed to throw 25, 30, 35 touchdowns. That's what the quarterbacks prior have done. The only one that didn't was Joe Milton, and we know why he didn't have 25 or 30. Same reason you didn't. Airmail. Wide open guys. Sorry, it's the truth. So I thought that'd be interesting to hear from. I haven't heard from Tyler Bray in forever. And he had a couple of issues where he got in a little bit of trouble back in the day, throwing stuff. He loved to show off his arm. But anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. I certainly did. And we'll keep up with this Jake Retzlaff thing. I know many of you are like, just let him go. We'll stick with Joey. But look, Josh Heupel's, he's got to do what's best for the team. He may consider having a guy with Power 4 experience that's been a winner, something that could help the team. He may not. But everybody thinks Tennessee is where he's going to wind up. So anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know. Continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that button right there. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
Congratulations, you played yourself.